Podcast relaunch? What? What's going on here? Might be what you're saying if you read the title. Well, this is actually episode number 328 of the series of what we've had here, and we're going to take a trip down memory lane today. We're going to talk about how the podcast first started with episode number 1. We called it Kickin'Life, Kicknlife, and then how we transitioned to Kickin'Life and then Bullyproof, Grogan's Bullyproof, and now Bullyproof Confidence. And the biggest part and the biggest reason for that is oftentimes people would tell me, hey, well, my kid's not really being bullied. So, yeah, I like your brand, but it really doesn't affect me. And I'd say, well, are you lacking confidence, or is your child lacking self-confidence or self-worth? And people would say, well, yeah, we all struggle with that. And so, well, that's essentially what Bullyproof is all about. But since I didn't have the word confidence in there, a lot of people didn't think it applied to them. So building Bullyproof Confidence is all about building you up to believe in yourself with self-worth, self-confidence, that self-endowing spirit to persevere and not give up. That is what Bullyproof Confidence is all about. So we're going to dive right in here. Listen to the intro. We'll be right back with you. Are you ready to learn life-changing strategies on how to bullyproof yourself, your kids, and others? Are you ready to be empowered with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in yourself, to overcome your fears and battle through your challenges, to stand up to any bully you face, both real and in your mind? Well, you've come to the right place. How about that intro? You pumped up? Are you ready to build some bullyproof confidence? Awesome. Well, good stuff. Well, let's get started. Well, greetings and welcome to the Building Bullyproof Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Master Rich Grogan, and I want to invite you to the official relaunch of our podcast and let you know, we kind of talked about it a little bit already, what's different. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for your time and your patience. We had a little bump in the road, which we can talk about a little later as we go on here, because I haven't recorded a show in over a month now, and I've been receiving all kinds of texts and emails and messages. Hey, what's going on here? Well, what was going on is we're doing this podcast relaunch and kind of rebranding the Building Bullyproof Confidence. And essentially what that is, it's a protective shield built on faith, inner strength, and self-confidence. It's believing in yourself and utilizing your God-given talents, your unique talents that only you have. You know, there's over 8 billion people on this planet, or roughly 8 billion, and you've got a unique talent, a gift from God that nobody else possesses. So that Bullyproof Confidence is all about you believing in yourself, believing in that God-given talent, to take those talents and stand out in the crowd, not just blend in, but stand out and become the powerful, confident person that you were born to be while utilizing those God-given talents. And it's also about having the right mindset and a positive mental attitude to persevere and not give up when life gets tough. Now, as we know, and you hear me talk about it all the time, especially our friends that listen all the time, and thank you again, those that are here like every single show, and our new friends listening in. We're going to talk more and more about that, the perseverance and not giving up when life gets tough. Because as Rocky says, world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean, nasty, ugly place, and I don't care how tough you are, it'll beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. Yeah, it hits hard. And unfortunately, a lot of society today with kids that are getting, medals for coming in last place and participation trophies and A's for not working hard. And I have this conversation with people a lot. I'm all about building kids' self-esteem and self-worth up, but we've also got to have a balance here. It can't be at the cost of them not learning how to overcome small challenges when they're young, because what happens is if they don't learn how to overcome small challenges when they're young, like failures and setbacks, then they're never, ever going to be able to handle the big problems when life really pops them in the chops and knocks them down. And statistically, it shows suicide, ready for this, folks? Suicide is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 34. That's insane. You might be asking, what's the number one leading cause of death? It's a hodgepodge. It's accidental death. All the things they can't classify, they throw into this big hodgepodge. It's considered accidental death. Well, suicide's the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 34. And I believe all the study and research I've done, that's a direct correlation to kids not learning how to overcome small challenges when they're little. It's like building a foundation. Just like building anything else up. If you don't learn how to solve small problems, you're never going to have the tools, the capacity, the mental strength or fortitude to solve the big problems, right? Yeah. So kind of going along with what is the bully-proof confidence, it's having the right mindset and positive mental attitude to persevere and not give up when life gets tough. But it's also to courageously take on life's challenges and every bully you face, both real and in your mind. Now, oftentimes I have people call in or text or jump on a live show with me and ask, what is that bully in your own mind? What is that? Well, the bully in your own mind is the meanest, nastiest bully you'll ever face. It's the one we see in the mirror and the one we hear in our mind. And that bully's the one telling us that we're not good enough. That person in third grade was right. We are dumb. We are stupid. We are short. We are fat. We can't do anything. We're never going to amount to anything. That's the bully in our mind. We pulling up those thoughts from the past, those weeds. And you hear me talk a lot about weeds in the mental garden. Right? If you don't do anything with your garden, say you plant a garden, you get the soil all fertile, and one year you plant a lot of vegetables, man, it turns out great. Well, the next year you don't do much at all with it. Well, that soil is still fertile. So what's going to happen? Weeds are going to grow up. Man, I'll tell you what, once those weeds take over the garden, you have to work like heck to dig those weeds out. Now, I talk a lot about that in my book, Becoming Bully Proof. So little plug for the book. If you haven't picked up a copy, please do so. It's on Amazon, just Becoming Bully Proof, or you can look up my name, Rich Grogan, and find it. And then you can also check out our other book, the ABC, or it's I Believe in Me, the ABCs of Positive Affirmation. That's for little kids. So check those babies out. And, of course, if you've already bought a copy, please, if you loved it, give us a 5-star review because that really helps push it up in the search engine results for folks to find it. But anyway, back to what I was talking about, planting weeds, or we wouldn't plant weeds, but the weeds seem to take over in your mental garden. What's the same thing in our mind? The bully in our mind is the meanest bully we'll ever face. It pulls up all those thoughts, all those limiting beliefs, all those reasons why you can't do something, or why, unfortunately, we tell ourselves we can't do something. It's because of that. And that's the biggest, meanest bully. And here's a fact, and this is what bully-proof confidence is pretty much all about. It's all about having that confidence to fight those battles in your mind, to believe enough in yourself to shut that down. Why? Because if you start believing the bully in your mind, before you know it, you start carrying yourself in a defeated posture. You start carrying yourself in a way that makes you an easy target and a victim for others. You develop a victim mindset. And before you know it, you're being bullied by others. Or maybe on the other side, you carry yourself kind of quiet, shy. Well, and I'm not saying you got to be big and boisterous, but I am saying the way you carry yourself, like a lion. I used to talk about this all the time in women's self-protection workshops. A lion in the wild doesn't go after the strongest gazelle. The lion goes after the weakest gazelle. Well, the same thing in the wild in our society. The predators, they don't attack people that think is going to give them problems, people that are going to stand up to them, or people that are going to shut them down. They attack those that look like a victim. Walking around with your head down, your shoulders slumped forward. You look defeated. You are easily defeated. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you talk about yourself. But it all starts the mental garden there. That's where that positive mental attitude comes from. So that's, in a nutshell, that is what bully-proof confidence is all about. Now, my goal, it's pretty much the same as what it was before. It's to empower 10 million kids and adults, but with bully-proof confidence so they can believe in themselves. Number one, you got to believe in yourself, because if you believe in yourself, you're going to be willing to take chances. You're going to be willing, kids at school, to raise their hand. You're going to be willing to stand up for those that can't stand up for themselves. As adults, we're going to be willing, if we've got a boss that's taking advantage of us. And I'm not saying you go punch them in the face, but I am saying you stand up to them. You tell them, hey, that ain't right, or it's making me feel uncomfortable. I don't feel right about this. It's giving you that inner strength to battle through, to believe in yourself, to respect yourself. And when you respect yourself, you're not going to let somebody else disrespect you. Isn't that crazy how those all fit together? And the ultimate goal, believing in yourself, is to live, I call your best kick in life. And kick in life is simply life. It's going to hand it to you. It's going to kick your butt. It's going to do what it can to keep you down. But you rise up each and every time, fight another round to live the life that you were born to live. Now, once again, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. I'm not living in fantasy land here. The world's tough. Society's tough. But Zig Ziglar always says, when you're tougher on yourself than most of the battles in the world you can face better than most. Meaning, be tougher on yourself. and the world won't be as tough on you because you've already prepared yourself. Sound good? Yeah. All right. Well, as we continue to move, we're going to keep talking more and more about that building bullyproof confidence. Now, you might be saying right about now, especially those who have listened for a long, long time, and I cannot ever say enough how grateful and thankful I am. You might be saying, well, that sounds a lot like what you've been talking about, and it is. But my whole goal now, by having the word confidence in there, is once again to attract more folks out there, and then maybe you can share it with others. And because before I'd hear people say, well, I wanted to share it with my friend here, but they kept saying, their kid's not being bullied, and they're not being bullied, so why would they waste their time listening to this? Well, now with the confidence, hopefully, as I talked about before, we all could use a little kick in the butt as far as confidence. Now, another thing I'm going to do my very best on, and I'll be honest and transparent as I always am, one of my major problems is focus, right? Squirrel. Then I'm off track. And that I have a tendency to drift. And it made me think the other day, it's kind of crazy. The other day it was actually like 2 or 3 months ago. But speaking of drifting, my office here, it overlooks the back of our yard. We have a pond out there, which is beautiful. And we have a gator that comes in. I'm in Florida now. Those that are listening for the first time, I lived in Southern Illinois my entire life, and we moved to Florida in July of 2021. And we're just blessed and happy to be here. But we've got a pond out back, and we got a gator that comes and goes. He goes between ponds. And we had a balloon. It was just down in the back lanai area, and I saw a little red balloon blowing around, and the next thing you know, it's in the pond, and it starts to drift across the pond. And I see a little girl. She runs out, kind of the neighbor, and by the edge of the pond. So I see her. I run out. I don't know where her parents were, but I say, hey, stay there. I'll help you. I'll get the balloon. So I'm bringing all this up because it's all about me drifting from time to time and how we all have a tendency to drift. And sometimes we drift whichever way the wind blows, right? Well, this balloon starts drifting across the pond. So here I go running across the other side of the pond. And I didn't see the gator, but I didn't know if he was under the water or whatever. But I'm telling the little girl, stay away from the water. I'll get it. So I go around the pond, get all the way around where I think it's going to, and then the wind shifts directions, and it blows this way. So I'm running back around the other side of the pond. Well, this went on a little while. It's this little balloon, and I'm trying to keep an eye on this little girl. Like, once again, I'm not sure where her parents were. I'm guessing they were inside, and she just came outside to play, and her balloon drifted away. But back and forth, and this went on for a little bit, and I saw a couple other neighbors pop their head out, but no one came out and helped me retrieve this balloon here. Well, anyway, I finally got it and came running back across. It's a pretty good-sized pond here, and gave it to the little girl, and she was, oh, thank you, I'm so happy, thank you. And then her parents finally came out. It's like, what's this guy doing giving my daughter a balloon? And I knew who they were. And I said, oh, it drifted across. I wanted to keep her away from the pond because I think our friendly gator's in there. And anyway, I bring all this up. Hopefully I planted a little thing in your mind there about seeing a balloon drift across the pond and drift back, and then me run around like a knucklehead trying to get the balloon for the little girl. It's because I often have a tendency, as one of my, I guess, I've never been diagnosed with ADD or ADHD or OCD or all those, but I kind of specialize in those things. Yeah, I used to think it was a curse. Now I realize it's my gift to help push me and drive me to do things that maybe others don't have the energy to do. But at the same time, focus is a struggle for me. It really is. And, I don't like feeding negative thoughts in my mind, but that is something that I consciously want to focus on. And when I saw that balloon thinking about that balloon drifting, it made me think sometimes that's where my mind is. It's blowing all over the place. And until I really put a conscious effort in on focusing in, sometimes it can be very tough. And I've noticed a lot of my podcasts, I go back through and listen to previous episodes. There's a lot of drifting going on there where I'm not staying on topic of the point I want to make. So that is my goal. I always set goals for myself, and that's one of them, to try and stay on topic. But maybe by telling that story of the balloon drifting, you can replay that in your mind. And if you don't remember anything else about the whole show today, maybe you can remember that part about focus. Sound good? All right. So anyway, back to, and this is going to be a shorter than normal episode because I just wanted to talk about the podcast relaunch, but I've got all kinds of exciting episodes coming up. I've got several planned out already. One coming up in the very near future, kind of teasing you as we move forward, is called How to Build Self-Empowerment is Through Salt and Light. Through Salt and Light. You might be saying, what in the world is salt and light? Well, I'll tease you a little bit. John Maxwell, if you've read any of his books, they're fantastic. He's I guess an expert in leadership development. And I don't know how many books. He's got probably 25, maybe 30 books out, and he's fantastic. But he came to our church the other day, and this is what he talked about. The message was about being salt and light and to help out others. What is salt and light? Well, what does salt do? Salt adds value, right? Makes things taste better, makes things better. And light brightens things up. So that's all I'm going to give you. You have to listen to that episode when it airs. I haven't recorded it just yet, but I will, and it'll air within the next couple weeks or so. I've got 4 or 5. I've not decided which order they're going to go in just yet. But that will be one coming up. But the main focus on these now, as I mentioned, is going to be all about the building bully-proof confidence, helping you believe in yourself. Does that sound good? All right. So another focus area we're really going to focus on, and it all kind of comes together because if you've seen, you'll see our new logo, and our new logo is building bully-proof confidence. And just like our old logo, Grogan's Bully-Proof, it has the shield around it. Now, the shield is all about the armor of God. That's kind of how the shield came to play. I was reading about the armor of God. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm trying to do with the shield. It's that bully-proof armor, developing that belief from the inside out to believe in yourself. And the only way to strengthen that armor is to continue to strengthen your mind by your positive input. Obviously strengthen your body, physical exercise, good nutritional value, but also the spiritual side as well. And what's the spiritual side? The spiritual side is all about believing that there's something bigger than you in this universe. Now, those that listen, I'm a Christian. I was baptized in 2017. It was a long time coming, but I'm happy that I did it. And I know my grandma, who would always ask me as a kid, she'd say, Richie, are you putting God first? And oftentimes when she asked enough, I would lie. Yeah, good person I was, lie and say yes just to get her to stop asking. But I wasn't. I was putting myself first and all my selfish needs. As oftentimes, in life, it's a me world, right? And those that have listened to other episodes, you've heard me talk about the most popular radio station in the world is WIFM, WIIFM. WIFM, what the heck's that? What's in it for me? Wow, is that a right hook reality? Sure it is. So part of the big focus is on that, the self-empowerment. All that is about building and strengthening that bulletproof armor. Self-empowerment, confidence building, uplifting inspiration, motivational content. And, of course, it's got to have some effective strategies to help you become bully-proof. And bully-proof is that armor that protects you, that belief in yourself. Sound good? Yeah. And all this is focused on helping you and your kids courageously utilize your unique God-given talents to become the amazingly awesome, powerful, confident superstar that God created you to be. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. So what else is going to be new? Well, we're going to have more consistent shows and consistent times, more inspiring stories. Believe it or not, that's another thing I've been really, really working on a lot, is to become a better storyteller. It's something that one of my mentors, Chris Widener, asked me years ago, who I thought was the best storyteller of all time. And I'll go through a list. Zig Ziglar or Jack Canfield or maybe you, Chris. And he goes, no, it was Jesus. Jesus was the best storyteller. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. And of course, all his stories, they were great stories to connect people. But not only did it connect people, it had a message that's lived on for how long now, right? And that's the power of storytelling. And you think back the old sitting around the campfire, somebody telling stories. Everybody's intrigued and enthralled by stories. Stories is a great way to connect. So lately I've been listening to a lot of my Audible book with Zig Ziglar, and I've got every one of Zig's books and Audible books. And of course, I'm good friends with Tom Ziglar, Zig's son. And actually, shout out to my son, Austin, who now works for Tom Ziglar and Howard Partridge, which are business partners that kind of continue carrying on the Ziglar name and brand and legacy. So, I gave Austin a shout out. I got to give Madeline, my beautiful princess daughter, a shout out. And my little buddy Emmett. Madeline's doing, she dresses up as Disney princesses and goes to little girls' birthday parties, and in character sings Disney songs to these little girls. They absolutely love it, and she absolutely loves it. And then my little buddy Emmett, he's 14 now. He's playing travel hockey as a goalie. Wow, he's in the nets, and he's doing a phenomenal. You like that word? Phenomenal. That's fantastic and phenomenal job, all wrapped up in one. I'm really proud of him for that. But anyway, more inspiring stories is where I'm going to focus on a lot of that. And, of course, powerful content, tips and strategies. Definitely going to have more guests on and be more selective on our guests so they bring the value and content that we want to help empower and build that bully-proof confidence. And it's going to be other entrepreneurs. It's going to be athletes. It's going to be some musicians, inspirational teachers that are spreading the message that we want to continue to spread. And that's all about building that confidence, that belief in self. But of course, at the same time, not lying to kids. I'll never, ever, ever lie to kids on anything. Life is tough, yes, but we're going to do what we can to help toughen them up, help them prepare for the battles that they're going to face. And us as adults and us as parents, I'm going to openly share with you, some of the struggles that I've had, some of the things were my shortcomings where I've failed poorly, and there's often times when I thought about giving up, but I'm going to talk about how I rebounded from that and battled through. Why am I doing all this? One, I tell you, this and being on doing the video blogs. Oh, which by the way, squirrel. I'm taking a YouTube course right now in order to, learn how to produce better video content so our YouTube channel continues to grow and get in, I'm getting the hands of, just get where people are able to get that message in another way. And because right now I've got, goodness gracious, over 500 videos on our YouTube channel, but we've only got, we don't even have 500 subscribers, simply because YouTube's always been kind of a holding pot for all the videos I've done over the years. Just kind of throw it on YouTube, I'll get to it later. Throw it on YouTube, I'll get to it later. Well, now as later, I really want to utilize YouTube and everything that it has to offer, not only for, the podcast, but the video blogs of the inspiration, stories from my book, speeches I've given, locker room speeches I've given, presentations in front of thousands of kids at middle schools and high schools and colleges and grade schools and athletic coaches, and just get all that content out there. But I've hired an editor that's going to go through and edit the videos and put music and pictures and images in the background while I'm talking. And of course, the whole goal of that is, once again, to get that message out into society, out in the world. And why? Well, I mentioned it earlier. Suicide's the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 34. I want to do what I can to empower as many, kids and adults as possible. That's horrible. And suicide ultimately is a person bullying themselves to death, if you think about it that way. And if whatever I can do to alleviate that pain and suffering from those individuals, and, of course, the family that's left behind after a tragic event like that. So it's our goal to do that and ultimately to make society a happier, healthier, and safer place to live, because happy, healthy people aren't taking their own lives. Happy, healthy people aren't being rude, mean, and disrespectful to others. Happy, healthy people are trying to help out others, right? Yeah, and that's kind of the ultimate goal of what we're trying to do. So more YouTube, and I'll update you on that as we move along there. The YouTube channel and all the channels we're converting over now to Bully-Proof Confidence. BULLYPROOF Confidence, CONFIDENCE, Bully-Proof Confidence. And that's going to be our new @ symbol and hashtag. And of course, Grogan's Bully-Proof is the name of the business, which, is going to be that's just a business name. That's kind of going to be in the background. The foreground is going to be the Bully-Proof Confidence. And the ultimate goal is to build that confidence to become bully-proof, to live your best kick in life. Does that sound good? Awesome. And as we start off here, we're going to have 2 shows a week that will air on Mondays and Fridays. And once we finalize the guest list, we'll add another show that will air on Wednesdays. Sound good? Awesome. Well, thank you for your patience, because we did hit that little bump in the road, and it was not consistent with releasing shows. But it's my goal not goal, but it's going to be something I'm going to do, is to do a better job to continuously get this content out. So I had mentioned at the beginning about taking a trip down memory lane. So I'm going to do that real quick here. And the podcast essentially started back in 2013 when I first came up with the word Kickin'Life. And it didn't have a podcast then. Be honest with you, in 2013, I'd never even heard of a podcast. I had no idea what the heck it was. I just started. I saw somebody do a video blog, good friend of mine actually now, and like, what the heck? He just took his iPhone and recorded a video. Now, I'd done with the old video cameras, I mean, I'm talking for as long as I can remember, been doing recordings and stuff on the old VHS tapes and then the little, I don't know, what were they, 8mm tapes or something. And so all kinds of stuff with that, and then recording videos just with my phone. But I'd never done a quote video blog that went out on Facebook. Well, I saw a buddy of mine. He wasn't a buddy. I never met him at the time, but then he puts a few out, and I connected with him, and before you know it, we became friends. But his name's Brandon Beliso, total rock star. But I remember doing my first video blog in 2013. I actually set the phone up, leaning against my computer on the desk, and recorded it when it was, vertical. And then I learned, no, you got to turn the phone to be horizontal. And then I was stacking it up on books. And then before you know it, I got some equipment to put it on. But my first one, and we called it Kickin'Life, Kicknlife. Well, I had put out probably a couple hundred videos at the time. And then a buddy that I hadn't seen in years from high school, I ran into him at, I don't know where the heck it was, Deerberg's or something. And Deerberg's is kind of like if you're in Florida, it's like a Publix. If you're, and like a Kroger, just kind of a supermarket. And he said, man, I love watching your videos. And I said, well, thanks. I really appreciate it. He said, have you ever thought about doing a podcast? And I said, a podcast? I don't even know what the heck that is. He goes, oh, it's just pretty much, he said, it's almost like Netflix, but for audio. People can pick and choose what they want to listen to. And I said, well, what do I do? He goes, you just talk. He said, well, I know you're good at that. You enjoy it. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds fantastic. What do I do? He goes, well, I work for this company. Why don't you stop in and see me? Well, I'd love to tell you that I took action right away, but as life is, sometimes things happen. You get caught up in this and that. And almost a whole year went by, and I bumped into him again. He goes, hey, man, I told the producers about you. I thought you were going to pop in. I said, oh, well, how about today? Can I just pop in today? He goes, yeah, I'll be back there in a couple hours. Why don't you swing by? So I did. Showed a couple of my videos to the producers at the place was called lineupmedia.fm. And I go in there, and they're like, oh, we love it. We want you to come here and start doing podcasts with us. I'm like, okay, well, the name Kickin'Life, is that fine? I go, oh, heck yeah. Well, they took care of all of it. And we ran with Kickin'Life for about a year. And I found that people were having trouble finding it. Now, my whole idea was it's unique, it's different. But if it's too tough for people to find, then they're not going to put in unfortunately, not going to put in the extra work to find it. They just couldn't. So we changed it to Kickin'Life, Kickinlife. And that did really, really well. We started getting a good following, a good audience. And then a buddy of mine, a mentor, Chris Widener, I mentioned him earlier. He said, yeah, the Kickin'Life, I get it. He says, but I'm telling you what you really need to focus on is what you do with your martial arts academy, what you've done with all the speeches you've given. Call it what it is. It's bully-proof to live your best Kickin'Life. Call it bully-proof. I'm like, oh, okay. So we changed the name again to Bullyproof. And essentially, that's where we've been for the longest time now. And because that's exactly what it is. Bullyproof is building that armor. And the reason for the rebrand now, kind of fast forward, is we're lacking the word confidence that needed to be in there simply because, and I mentioned this probably twice already, a lot of folks would say, well, I'm not really being bullied, or my kid's not really being bullied, but man, they are lacking confidence. You think you could help out with that? Or their self-esteem isn't very good, or their self-respect isn't very good, or their attitude's not the best, or you know what, I'm having trouble with my boss at work. Could you help me with that? And I would say, well, yeah, that's what becoming bully-proof, that's what Grogan's bully-proof is all about. And they would say, oh, I thought it was just for little kids on the playground. And I'm saying, well, that's a part of it. Because building confidence doesn't matter if you're a little kid on the playground or you're a teenager or an adult or a parent or even somebody in a senior citizen. That confidence is what we need, that protective armor, that bully-proof confidence, that bully-proof armor to send out that vibe, that message, that signal. We're not a victim. We're not vulnerable. We are going to stand up for ourselves. And that's essentially what it's all about. How'd you like that? How'd you like that little trip down memory lane? Was that educational? Was that helpful? Good. So anyway, kind of fast forward, the whole idea of what we're doing here is that in a nutshell, and all the shows moving forward are going to be fairly similar. But as I mentioned, I'm going to do a better job of being a better storyteller, make sure I introduce stories of my past, stories of things that have happened. But the whole idea of the stories is to connect the main point of what I'm trying to bring across here in order to help you build that bully-proof confidence. Sound good? Sound good? Awesome sauce, awesome sauce. Well, I often forget, I actually put myself a note in here to talk about reminding you, I should say reminding me to remind you to be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook and Instagram pages. And as I mentioned before, it's at Bullyproof Confidence. So you can check those out. And of course, make sure you subscribe to this podcast so you don't ever miss an episode that is going to have some new content, some empowering messages to help empower you. And then if you would, please, if you found value, please give us that 5-star review, and please kindly share it with someone else who you know could benefit from this message. And that's how we're going to, collectively work together to make our society a happier, healthier, and safer place to live. And our books are out, so check those out. They're on Amazon.com, or you can just look under my name, Rich Grogan, or you can just look up the books. It is, what is it? Becoming Bully Proof, and then also I Believe in Me, A through Z Positive Affirmations. Sound good? So what did we cover today? Quick recap here. Talked about the new launch. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully you like what you heard today and are excited about moving forward and what we're going to talk about. We talked about the red balloon drifting across the pond and sometimes how life we can drift and how often I drift. And think about the focus it took to stay committed to getting that red balloon, or the focus it takes to stay committed to get the project done, or to battle through, to build that bully-proof confidence, to strengthen that bully-proof armor, to become bully-proof. Yeah, I mean, it takes a conscious effort. We have to do it. We also talked about staying focused and believing in ourselves and our unique God-given talents to be who we were born to be, right? Yeah. And how do we do it all? I mean, how do we do it? And how do our kids learn how to do it? By working together, by us working together. I promise I'll keep doing the research on my end to look through all my, goodness gracious, I don't know how many, I'm looking right now on my bookshelf, probably 30 different binders full of notes. I've got, 1,300 listening hours on Audible with a ton of notes there. And continue to read and do research, continue attending conferences, continue learning myself so I can pass that on to you. And, of course, continue to strengthen my bully-proof armor by building my bully-proof confidence so I can continue sharing these messages to you. And then what do? Well, you get it. And then, of course, you share it with somebody else. And collectively, that's how we make it happen. Does that sound good? Awesome. Well, thanks again. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I am truly, truly grateful, and I hope you found value in this message. And if you did, as I mentioned, share it with kids, family, friends, loved ones, anyone that could benefit. And remember, we all have the power to be a hero in someone else's life. And maybe this message is exactly what they need to hear. I'm hoping it's what you needed to hear today, and I'm hoping it inspires you to strengthen that bully-proof armor, to build that bully-proof confidence. And oftentimes, and Zig Ziglar would always talk about this, he recommends that you listen to things more than once. And the reason for that, because every time you listen to something more than once, you're going to be at a higher level of learning, or you're going to be in a different frame of mind, a different thought process, and you're going to pick up on something that maybe you missed the first time. Maybe something that was like, wow. Because oftentimes I'll read a book again, or listen to a podcast again, or listen to an Audible book again, and I'll swear that the author somehow magically went in and rewrote an area of the book that I completely missed the first time, or re-recorded the podcast that I missed the first time, or reread something in the book that I missed the first time. I'm like, how in the world is that possible? Well, it's just that. When I listened to it the first, second, third, or fourth time, I was a different level of learning or thinking, or my mindset was different, or who knows what was going on in my life that I really needed to hear that particular point that I'd overlooked in the first couple times I listened to it. So please listen again, and please share. Sound good? Well, folks, that's all I got for you today. But hopefully it's enough to empower you to keep believing in yourself and continue building that bully-proof confidence and strengthening that bully-proof armor. All right, folks. Well, until we talk again, you get out there and do your best, and I promise You'll be your very best. And that bullyproof armor, boy, that's going to be strong. Yes, yes, yes. All right, folks, I love you. God bless you. God bless your loved ones. I can't wait to chat with you again real soon. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you so very much for listening in today. I am truly grateful for your time. My goal is to empower 10 million people with hope, faith, and confidence to believe in themselves to become bully-proof. But I can't do it alone. So if you found value in this message, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it, and by subscribing and leaving a 5-star review. Remember to stay empowered throughout the week by visiting our social media channels, Grogan's Bullyproof, and our website, grogansbullyproof.com. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to pick up copies of all our bullyproof books for yourself and someone you care about. Thank you again, and make it a blessed day.